Hi, this is POOGLE. I am going to start my Rocket Realty radio show. In today, episode number 8, the topic is now a great time to refinance? So let's get started. Over the past couple of weeks, I've received a number of phone calls from my clients, customers, friends, and relatives asking me, POOGLE, is now a great time to refinance? If I need to refinance, how should I get started? So the answer, folks, is absolutely now is a great time to refinance because the interest rates are at an historically low level. For example, just before this broadcast, I was checking the interest rate on a 30-year. It is 3 1/8. On a 15-year, it is 2 3/4. So they are in incredibly low, historically low rates. So if you have an opportunity, you should consider refinancing. Okay. Second question, what about the cost, POOGLE, right? So whenever you do a refinance, you are actually applying for a brand new loan. Okay, so you're applying for a brand new loan, which means you have all the cost associated when you purchase the home, okay, which includes checking your credit fee, then there is lender and lawyer fees, there is also fees associated with title insurance, appraisal, and so on. So the cost for you to refinance would run anywhere between 1 to 3%. Okay. Now look at question number 3. Some of them have asked me, POOGLE, is there any way we can avoid the cost if I do the refinancing with the current mortgage provider or the lender? Folks, no, because whenever a lender or a mortgage broker writes up a loan, it is governed by different governmental regulation. For example, two major entities in the federal government are Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So they go through the same process as if you're buying a home. The reason is a lot of these lenders, once they write up the loan and closes, they sell this mortgage to actual investors and through mortgage-backed securities in secondary market. In order for these investors to buy, it has to comply with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines, and therefore even if you go with the existing current lender, the costs are not going to change much. Question number 4 is, what are the factors you need to consider when thinking of refinancing? There are 3 important things you need to consider. Number 1 is the interest rate. Now the interest rate that you are paying for your current mortgage and the interest rate you will be paying on the new mortgage should be at least 1 percentage point difference lower, or 100 basis point lower. So if you're paying 4.5 and the new rate you're getting is 3.375, then you should consider refinancing. The second factor is the duration of which you're going to hold the asset that you are refinancing, because when you do a refinancing, there is a closing cost. You need to pay this much amount of money in order to get a lower rate, right? You need at least 5 years to recoup your closing cost from the savings that you achieve by paying a lower interest rate. Okay, 5 years. So whether you're refinancing your existing home or you're refinancing an investment property, your holding period should be at least 5 years for you to break even. The third is the terms, loan terms. Whenever you sign up for a mortgage, there is something called a promissory note. Okay, and in the promissory note, you have different terms that you agree with the lender. There are 2 terms you should look for. One is holding period. That means the lender is stating that when you take a loan from me, you're going to not refinance until either 6 months, 12 months, or 24 months. Okay, so they have different terms on how long you need to hold that loan from being refinanced. So you need to look at that. So it is in your promissory note, or you can call the lender. The second most important thing on the promissory note is prepayment penalty. So every lender has a prepayment clause, right? It will say either 0, which means if you prepay the loan, the current loan, then there is 0 fees. Some of them will have certain percentage point. So you need to know what those terms are in your current mortgage. If you do not know that, call the service provider or the lender. They will explain to you. So these are 3 factors, the interest rate, the duration you're going to hold after refinancing, and these 2 terms that I mentioned. One is holding period, the second term is prepayment penalty. The last question, I've had a number of conversation is, Poogle, what would you recommend? Is it a 15-year or a 30-year? Now, each one has pros and cons. Let me lay it to you, and then you need to decide which one fits you. In a 15-year mortgage, right, you get a lower interest rate, and then you pay off the loan in 15 years. That means overall the interest you're paying to the lender will be less, right? So it is a major advantage. But you're committing in terms of mortgage, you pay a higher amount every month. If your budget allows paying you higher amount, then you should go for 15 years. That is the best choice. But I also have families who cannot afford to pay a higher mortgage every month. So for them, a 30-year mortgage is ideal, because in a 30-year mortgage, they pay half of what they would pay for 15 years, right? The downside is they have to pay a higher interest rate, and it takes longer for them, 30 years, to pay off the mortgage, right? However, for those who are considering 30-year, you also have an advantage. The advantage is, if you have extra money, optionally, you can pay the lender, for example, $100 more every month towards your principal. So when you pay $100 more towards your principal, you can actually reduce the loan term from 30 to 25 years. So it gives that flexibility. So 1 year, let's say you have some college or other expenses, and you cannot contribute $100 to the principal each month, you don't have to pay, because it is optional, right? So each product, 15-year and 30-year, has advantages and disadvantages, and you need to decide which one fits you. Folks, I do this show live every week on facebook.com as well as YouTube, and you can join me at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. If you like this video that I broadcast, I'll be very honored if you can like me on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Rocket Realty TX. You can also subscribe to my videos on YouTube, and that channel is youtube.com/C/Rocket Realty TX. Thanks for watching.